Now, the third area is not quite as specific, so I'm just going to use one example that I see on a regular basis. So I live right now down in Littleton in an area called Grant Ranch, and when I commute to or from downtown Denver, I use a road called Highway 85, or the locals, we call it Santa Fe. And I noticed about 2 years ago, this little micro community development starting to be constructed right off of the highway, really close to a neighboring community. And what I started to see as I drove by this on a regular basis is I thought it was just like a little tiny home community, but then I started noticing really big fencing on all four sides of this little plot of land and big lights that were shining down on it, as well as different security cameras. Just kind of threw me off. Wasn't sure what this was all about. Well, it turns out it's actually something that they've been testing out, which is this tiny home micro community. And basically, another way of saying this is just like a small village that's designed to move people out of tents and into transitional housing without the case management and services. It's not a perfect system, and some of these projects are actually already facing some funding challenges, but they do represent, I'd say, a shift forward, just something that's towards a new solution that's really sitting again between that street camping and the traditional apartment type resource for people that are trying to transition out of homelessness and back into a more stable living environment. I think one issue here is a lot of the neighbors surrounding this area, and for good reason. I could definitely see where they're coming from here. There's a lot of concerns. They're worried about how that might affect their property values. They're worried about if that homeless community maybe has some drugs or other maybe crime-related things going on, that might start filtering into the neighboring community of established homes that are all around this area, the one I'm specifically talking about, again, right off of Santa Fe. So there's a lot of pushback. There's just a lot of kind of moving parts, a lot of emotion, I think, on both sides, which is causing a little bit of friction in some cases. So this type of housing with these tiny homes is, in my opinion, probably not the most sustainable and something that you're really not seeing too much more getting built. This was a couple years ago when this one that I'm referring to was established, so that's the only one that I've seen in the area that I live in, but definitely just wanted to point that out to you guys because you might start noticing something similar in other parts of Denver, and if you do, this could potentially be what you're looking at. Again, it's just a tiny home type community that is built to hopefully help people with this transitionary period to get them off the streets and off of tents and back into a more stable living environment.